Antonio, welcome to Nightfly and your wonderful book. Welcome. It's my pleasure to have you in the show. So
Thank you, Dietmar. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. We had a couple conversations already, and we did a live presentation of your book. This was very successful, as you told me.
It was because I had lots of reactions from people, even from most unexpected people living abroad that were watching it, So it was
Wow.
very successful. Yeah.
Oh, wow, wow, yeah. And while this was coming out of it, we decided to make you coming to the show and explaining a little bit more, even in English. While the presentation was all in Portuguese, and I have the book also
I
in
see you
Portuguese.
have it, yeah.
I'm on the way to hire somebody to read me the book, and
If I hire somebody to what, sorry?
I'm going to hire somebody
Ah,
to read me the
oh,
book
so yeah.
in
Yeah,
Portuguese.
there's not many chances that I'll have it translated unless it becomes a worldwide success.
Yeah, maybe we're working on it. Let's
No, I don't
distribute
think
this.
so. I
Yeah,
don't believe
and
it.
even I have a signature from you in the book. Very nice. Thank you very much.
No,
Uh, and I see in the last couple of days, I see a lot of people reading the book on social media. You s-
yes, yes, I do because I only today I got five. I sold 5 books
wow. So you're
today.
packing, wrapping up, bringing stuff
Yeah,
to the
even
post
had
office.
a father that came to the pastry shop where I usually go in the morning because he was in a hurry to buy two. They had already bought one book that his wife was reading,
Okay.
and she told me to come and get 2 more that she wants to send to her 2 children that are studying abroad.
Wow. Wow. This is quite really. This is quite something. And why you wrote the book? What was the decision to make a book after? Maybe I say you are 80 now.
I'm 80, yeah,
Yes,
80.
80
And I
years.
turned 80 last July, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And that's one of the reasons, why I wrote the book, because um, I had been traveling for many, many years. And as you probably are aware of, I had 2 companies that were promoting courses abroad. And for several decades, I was sending students abroad on a variety of courses. There was one specific course that required a very good preparation. Well, it was for people aged about 16, 17 that were going for a full year abroad to live with an exchange host family and study in a local high school. So these required a very careful preparation. And during the preparation, which included the whole weekend, in the evening, the students would come and ask me questions about my life, about what I do. And when I started telling the questions, they kept saying, Antonio, you must write a book. You
Yeah.
must write a book. And
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'll write a book. I kept saying this for many, many years. And then one day I said, I'm approaching to 80. I might as well write a book because it's now or never.
Yeah.
So I decided and I wrote the book.
And how was it? Was it difficult, or how long it was taking you to make the book or write the book? What was
Well,
the
I will
way?
have
How
to
went you?
you have to divide it in 2 parts
Okay.
because first, the preparation for an eventual book, or I don't know why, was done all my life because all my life I had little memorandums where I wrote down everything I did. And people think that I'm crazy, which probably I am, but thanks to that, I had drawers and drawers full of those little memos where every single day of my life was noted down. And sometimes it was just a word, office, or something like that. But if something more interesting happened, I wrote it down a little bit more. And sometimes some of the travel, I wrote some comments that I kept aside for whatever.
Yeah.
So the first thing was to go over all the drawers, get everything out, and page by page go over thousands of days of my life and take from that whatever I felt that could be of interest. So that was the first part. The second part was looking at those yearly maps, and from those just take whatever really was interesting for the purpose of the book, because the book is not a book about traveling. It's a book about facing challenges, which is the title. So it's about challenges I faced, unusual situations, funny situations, something that happened in my life that was unusual, that was worth telling people about.
Okay.
So, for instance, I've been, I don't know how many times to London, and the only time I speak about London is when I was hit by a car, because all the other trips to London, I was traveling, I was having meetings, I was attending workshops, I was running sessions in schools. But that was, what could I write about that? But
Yeah.
one event when I kept telling my students, when you go to London or when you go to the UK, make sure you look to the right side,
Yes.
And
Yes.
I did what I
Yeah.
kept telling my students they shouldn't do. So those, so the stories like that.
Yeah. But it's not a biography. You not have written a biography.
No,
So
it's not a biography at all.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
separate events. As a matter of fact, people are telling me that it's the book is very easy to read
Okay.
because you can you can jump around. You
Yeah.
just select the title, you find it interesting, and you read it.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's organized in a way that it starts by my very first uh, adventure or the very first situation in my life that actually made me grow so much, which
Okay.
was my high school year in the
Yeah.
United States when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And it moves from that. And my last story is when I was 77, which was the last World Congress I attended before I sold my former company, which took place in Vietnam.
Oh,
So, so it covers a span of 62 years of my life.
but this is unbelievable. All the stories in this maybe around 60 years. How you decided which episode of your life you want to put in there? What
Well,
was
like I said, the ones that I felt something unusual, something funny sometimes. Some people keep telling me that I laugh a lot with my stories. I did not
yeah.
know that the stories were so funny. I think I know what they mean because the way I tell things, even difficult situations, I write them in such a way that
Okay.
it's not probably very common. And
Yeah.
usually at the very end of each chapter, I end a little comment. And
Okay.
that's very typical of my way of speaking sometimes or writing. And so it's probably that. So stories can have one page and some stories can have 12 pages, but the majority of them have 2 or 3 pages, not more.
Okay.
So you don't get tired reading
Yeah.
it.
And what was the, let's say, the unexpected situation in all your trips where you
Oh,
never were thinking of?
unexpected situations. Yes, I had several.
Okay.
Well, one of the most unexpected situation happened a few meters from my office. It happened in Lisbon, which
Okay.
was when I used to go to the bank still in the time when we were using checks. So
Yeah.
every day at the closing of the bank, I would go down to the bank and leave the checks. So I was usually the last person there. Everybody had left. It was a small agency, everybody knew me. I was talking to the owner and to another girl that was at the counter, and I heard a voice behind me, "This is an assault." And I looked and there was a guy with a gun pointing at me.
What?
So, and then because I was the only client, he used me as a hostage. So I was hostage of a bank robbery, right in Lisbon, in the center of Lisbon. So that's unexpected.
This
And
is unbelievable, or this is more. It's not only for a book; it's more for a film.
yeah, it could be, but
Yeah.
in the book, it's a very short event because
Yeah.
that's it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it just happened. Another one, and in a totally different situation, is that I was at that time director of a Portuguese exchange organization, and we were members of the European Federation for Intercultural Learning, which was based in Brussels and had member countries from all over Europe. And I was attending a general assembly in Passau.
Oh, sure. Yes.
You know, near
Yes. Wonderful.
Munich, you
Yeah.
know, beautiful place.
Yes.
And I was there just as a participant, and there were elections. And then I was approached by people from Switzerland, I think, first, and then from Belgium, and afterwards from Spain. And they said, you should run for the board. And I decided, I said, why me? Because I never thought about it. I said, no, we like your ideas. You have different ideas, whatever. Okay, to make the story short, I ran for the board, which originally was just running for the board. Then it was in the first meeting of the board that they decided who would be president, vice president, treasurer, and that, even though everybody knew that there were people running for the board. And there were four very strong candidates running for president. So I said, okay, I will just be just one of those that don't have anything to do. It's a board of 7, so I don't have to, because I was elected to the board. And then, and I won't tell you why, because it's in the story, I became president of the European Federation for Intercultural Learning.
Wow.
I became president of an organization I had never thought of running for, you know.
Yeah. That's sometimes it's really to be present, and the people realize what you can achieve, and that's vibes. That's other people recognizing how strong somebody else is. You don't have to point out yourself sometimes. Other people's are coming. That's very important thing.
I do not consider myself very strong to make the Italian candidate who was a former president, the Belgian woman who was a very strong personality and later started working in the European Union. The Swiss guy and the German guy who was a university professor, they were far better candidates than me. I was different, let's say.
Yeah. So that's the important thing. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
When you wrote the book with all your students, have you had a target to write the book, to say, okay, that's something for my former students to learn what I have done? Maybe they can take some lessons out of it, or have you targeted a group of people with the book?
Actually, okay. I have 2 targets. You know, one is young people from let's say 15, 16 years older, up to the ages of 20 something or that, at the age where they're still not completely sure of what they want to do or what career, and still hesitant, or sometimes they are even hesitant about what they should choose and what their capacities. To those people, what is underlying, because I don't say it directly, I hope they understand by reading the book. What I'm just trying to convey to them is, if you want to find out more about yourself, get away from your comfort zone, face challenges, face new situations, learn about the world, and at the same time learn more about yourself. So that's one of the...
That's a good... Go ahead,
No,
please.
that's one of my main target groups is the young people.
Yeah.
The second target group is their parents, because I
Okay.
had many young students that wanted to do something like what I had done, and their parents would not allow them. And they would come to me and say, Antonio, please talk to my parents, because I was older than their parents, so they would at least listen to me. And so to the parents, what I'm trying to make them understand is that they should not protect exaggeratedly. They should not be what we call the helicopter parents that are always flying over the children, knowing what they're doing and all that. And they should not protect them more than what is necessary, because their role is to prepare the children for life. And to prepare them for life, they have to prepare them for whatever may come in the future. And if they're not strong enough, by the time they leave their parents' home, they're not ready for anything, you know. And that happens so very often, you know. So parents, please don't overprotect your children. Prepare them for life because that's your role.
Yeah, yeah. And while talking about it, which situation you faced in your life had influence on you, or at all?
Well, the first two themes in the book are essential because it's when we're young that those things really are very important. The first group of stories is about my high school year in the States because
Yeah,
Dietmar, I was 16 years, I had turned 16 3 days before I left my parents' home to spend a whole year, and I mean 12 months abroad in a family that I had
yeah,
never met before, in a country I had never been to, and attending a high school in a different language, in a different part of the world. Everything was different.
yeah.
And it was really, it shook me a lot. I did
Hmm.
lots of stupid and silly things because at that time there was not the orientation that later I introduced for my students. And I introduced this orientation because I knew it was something I missed, because if I had had a proper orientation, many of the stupid things I did when I was a high school student abroad, I wouldn't have done it. Because I did. Because Portugal in 1956,
Yeah.
you can imagine. I saw TV for the first time in the States. I had
Mm.
never seen TV
Wow.
in my
Wow.
life. So
This
you
is
can imagine, it
fascinating.
was a totally new world for me.
Yeah,
So I really grew a lot. I
yeah,
grew a lot because because everybody kept, and at that time, high school exchange students were unusual. So everybody in the school came to me. I was a kind of a little hero, which we didn't expect because everybody came asking me things about my
yeah,
country, about this and that, and they knew absolutely nothing about Portugal, not even where it was located.
yeah, yeah. It's
And
amazing. Yeah,
so that was one very important experience. The second one is after my school year, in the States, I came back. I had to finish my high school back in Portugal, and because I had fell to one year behind while I
yeah,
was away and all that. And when I finished, and before going to the university, I had long holidays, and I decided to go and visit all my friends that were near me because I was based in Southern California,
mhm,
and we used to have some trips and things that they offered to the group of exchange students that were in a certain area.
yeah.
So I had made friends with those students, and at least the ones from Europe, I wanted to visit them.
Hmm.
So I decided to do it on my own, to hitchhike, which is something I had never done before. And
In
I
that time,
hitchhiked. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
hitchhiking around Europe for 2.5 months. And
Wow.
can you imagine in 1959, I mean, there was absolutely nothing. There was nothing I could use. I would arrive in a place and where the car stopped and left me out, and I was looking for a youth hostel somewhere. I had to ask people because I had nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And I had to do everything on my own. And
Yeah.
I survived. And I was like that 2 months and a half. My father never believed I would go very far, and they said, okay, when you get to a place that's in Troncamento, which is near Lisbon, he said, I'll call me and I'll come and pick you up. And I said, no, I'm going all the way up to Norway and back.
Wow, this is well. When I see you so enthusiastic, and we see us on certain events sometimes in some
Yeah.
groups we're together. I see you so full of dynamic and everything. I can really imagine how you have been in the past, 50 years ago or even 60 years ago, to do something, and you're not, let's say you're not going to sleep, you're not going to stop, you're doing things, and still you are still active, you are still active in different ways, and creating and
Yes,
helping people.
I try to, and I try to, I'm very happy that you're saying that because I also believe I am. And one of the things that happened to me a lot was I always was surrounded by young people. And
Yeah,
this kept me with a young mentality. I usually say I have the body of an 80-year-old, but I have the mind of a much younger person.
Yeah, and we see this, and some people, let's say, they're much older than you, even they are born later.
Yes,
Let's say it nice. Yes,
yeah, I have met quite a few that were born old, you know,
yes,
which
yeah.
is
But
something.
it's their thing. It's their thing, and you that way. And
Yeah.
what is your future plan? Where from now? So you write a second book or a film, or what's
No,
the
no,
plan?
no, no. Okay, I think that one book is enough. It's selling well, but okay, it's enough. And I decided because, as you probably know, I've never been very good in technology, and I'm still getting more because in my company I had young people that did everything for me. When I
Yeah,
wanted something, I asked them to do. Now that I'm on my own, I have to learn and do them by myself. So I have just recently created a blog because I realized there was still many stories I wanted to write, and I got this habit of writing, and now I want to write more. I have more things I want to tell people in a different way, you know, perhaps. So I have my blog, which is also facing challenges
okay.
to keep the same name, and where I already written, I put 3 posts, which the first 3 posts were related to the way I wrote the book and how I did it and all that. But then I will start writing about different things that come to my mind. I actually want sometimes to bring up some subjects that may be controversial because
Mm.
unless the blog gets some action, some people reacting to it, it
Yeah.
will be a waste of time. At least I think
Absolutely,
so.
absolutely. But how the people reacted already to your live presentation? A lot of people, so they will react to your blog for sure. Especially if you're writing things, some periods of your life where other people were involved, and they if they're still alive, they will act. I would act if a teacher or somebody helped me in my life to go forward is doing something like this, I would respond and would love to see what he's doing. So and if you keep this going, I think this is great. I love this. I really love this.
So this blog will keep me going, and I'm also thinking about other things, but I won't bring them out because normally I always have plans. I've always in
Okay,
my life had plans, and I always start speaking about them when I'm sure that I can go ahead with them. The blog
good.
is already moving, so I can talk about the blog. Everything else, we'll see.
Yeah,
See.
but maybe we take this as a final. While then we have a chance to make a second interview when you're coming out with your news and your next or your future plans. We can announce it. You're very welcome to come again to
Well,
the show
thank you very
and
much.
tell the
Thank you,
people
Dietmar.
what
I
you're
would
doing.
love to because I enjoy talking to you. You
Thank
know,
you.
you make people feel very much at ease. You know, which is very very good. And I enjoy the conversation. You know, when I was still working, you know, in my company, and I had international positions. I was invited. I was interviewed on the TV, on the regular
Yeah,
TV,
yeah,
several
yeah.
times. And I can say that many of those interviews were absolutely awful. Those people just did not know what to ask me. They asked the wrong things. They didn't understand exactly what I was saying and what I was doing. I had one or two very good interviews, but some of them were very bad.
Yeah, that's happened. That's happened. Yeah, then let's finalize this. I can just emerge to people. They should go and see the book. And in Portuguese, or like me, I'm going to have somebody reads me the book. I'm very interested in the individual, and you have very nice pictures from around the world. I saw some pictures from Vietnam and Turkey, and with the whole family. And then you've been invited actually in that countries from the people, from the people on the countryside. They
Yes,
invited you to
I
come to the
was because you see, I always held international positions, and I was invited to go just about everywhere to attend workshops, congresses, conferences, whatever.
yeah.
And I would be attending them, and usually they took place in a very nice hotel in the middle. And then we came home. And sometimes we were in countries like in Vietnam, for instance, where you are in a luxury resort. And you,
Yeah.
at the end of 1 week in the luxury resort, all my colleagues from around the world went back home, and I said, "What do they know about the real Vietnam?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's when it comes the real Antonio Valadas that likes to know what people want to, how people are, what they think. And when I always get individual guides if I need them. I don't want the ones that take a crowd around that pa 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 pa. I want to talk to them and get into the confidence so that at a certain point they tell me the things they're not supposed to tell sometimes to the people they're guiding, or they
Yes.
trust me, and sometimes they even invite me to their homes, you know.
Yeah.
And that means that
Good.
they give full trust. And then I know the real life and the reality
Yeah.
of those people. And in Vietnam, I learned so much about Vietnam, about the war in Vietnam,
Mm.
about the two sides, you know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's and
Wow.
that's and that's what I like to do. It's to learn about all the sides that are not told or not shown, you know.
Right. That's the thing. It's wonderful. So, hey, this is great. And I'm looking really forward for the next interview with your future plans and everything what appears. Antonio, thank you very much for taking the time talking with me. I know you're busy signing a lot of books, you're shipping books. So people waiting out there, and you have a strict plan every day. I think you having a very controlled,
Yes,
more or less
yes, yes,
controlled,
yes,
busy
yes.
day. Yeah.
I just got the most unexpected request for a book just before this interview.
Wonderful. Maybe hopefully more are coming when this is out, and
Yeah.
people will be interested, even they don't have anything to do with you, but life experience is something for everybody. And so that's and everybody's facing challenges every day. And maybe some solutions in here, or at least things to laugh or to cry or whatever. So I'm going forward to read this in Portuguese. And thank you very much, Antonio, and really see you soon. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dietmar. I'm very happy that we had this chance to talk and that I had this chance to tell a little bit more about my book because it was my last baby.
And a new
Anyway,
one is coming.
and thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Bye,
Thank you.
Antonio. Bye
Bye.
bye.